Hello everyone, my name is Elite Trainer Kenway. I just spent roughly 40 hours in Pokemon Scarlet, and oh, do we have some stuff to talk about today. I decided that the best way to document my thoughts on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet was to organize my thoughts into three major categories: the good, the bad, and the missed opportunities. So today we're only going to be focused on the first two so that next week we have room to dedicate an entire video to opportunities that Scarlet and Violet had and missed. Because I don't want this video to end on a bad note, let's go ahead and get it out of the way now and talk about things Game Freak got wrong with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. As much as I detest graphic snobs who believe that Pokemon need to look like Breath of the Wild in order to be playable, even I have to admit these games look pretty bad. You have Pokemon assets melding together to become unholy abominations. You have players riding invisible mounts. My mount got stuck in the jumping down position and I had to ride around town with Koraidon looking dead at the floor. And then you have the frame rate drop. Anything more than 10 or 15 feet away from the player basically had its frame rate cut in half. Which, typically, I don't care about that, but they did it better in Legends Arceus. They did it better in Sword and Shield. Hell, they did it better in Sun and Moon. I get what Game Freak was going for. They tried to put as many people and as many Pokemon into the world as possible, especially in Mesa Goza, to try to make the world seem as lush and lived in as possible. But if you can't make it look good, then simply don't do it. And like I said, they did it right in Sword and Shield. I have over 400 hours put into Pokemon Shield, and not once did I ever really notice a frame rate drop anywhere in the foreground or in the background. But in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the frame rate drops are right in front of you, and even when the games are running smoothly, they could crash at literally any time. During my first 40 hours of gameplay, I had 3 just random, no reason crashes where the screen just suddenly went completely white. And that's to say nothing of the memory leak issues that some players are having, where if you're playing the game for more than 12 hours at a time, the old memory can corrupt the new memory. This is the 4th set of Pokemon games that Game Freak has made on the Nintendo Switch. There's absolutely no reason they haven't figured out how to avoid these bugs by now. Now this next one is really simple. Why are we not allowed to change these damn clothes? We've been able to change clothes in X and Y, Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, Sword and Shield, Legends Arceus, and even the remakes Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee and the god-awful Diamond and Pearl. So why then, in Generation 9, are we stuck with 4 outfits to choose from that look god-awful, especially if you're playing Pokemon Scarlet, which I did. Now I get that you're supposed to be in school and you're supposed to wear school uniforms the entire time you're there. But then why not have your character automatically put on clothes whenever they enter the school and then be allowed to wear whatever the hell you want to wear when you're out of school? Why are players stuck wearing these butt-ugly school uniforms when 90% of the gameplay takes place outside the frickin' school? The next thing that Scarlet and Violet got wrong was Overworld spawns. Not all of them, just the tiny ones. Like, I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to make the Overworld spawns to scale like they did in Legends Arceus, but they made the small ones too small. The small Overworld spawns, like the one that evolves into Grafai, I can't remember his name right now, are so tiny that you literally do not see them until you're already engaged in a battle with them. And my god, it is so much worse when you're on your Rhydon. The game is built in such a way where it very clearly encourages you to explore everything around you. However, on the back of Koraidon, I was hitting those tiny freaking Overworld spawns in the early games so many times that I honestly thought the game wanted me to go back on the trail and go straight. Now, it took me, no joke, about 5 or 6 hours, but I eventually learned how to dodge these Pokemon. But it's not easy when the collision detection when you're mounted is absolutely broken. Y'all, I wish I was joking. Watch this video of me on the back of Koraidon trying to go after this Hariyama, and again, and again, and again. That shit is insane, especially when, as I said before with some of these other issues, Legends Arceus got it right a year ago. Now, I can ignore surprise encounters. We didn't even have Overworld spawns until Generation 8, so I'm fine with surprise encounters. What I'm not fine with is Pokemon sneaking up on my trainer while I'm in the middle of a f***ing battle and forcing me into a new encounter. So this is the thing that really got my blood boiling. This happened many times where I was in a battle, I ended the battle, I had 4 or 5 freaking Tauros on top of my trainer character, and that forced me into another battle. I run from that battle or catch him or defeat the Tauros, and then another Tauros on top of me pushes me into another battle. And it wasn't just Tauros, it happened with Giraffarigan and a couple of other Pokemon. Why are the Pokemon running like it's pretty cool that you can see Pokemon you're not battling with or against, in the foreground and background. That part is pretty cool. But why do the aggressive Pokemon stand on top of the trainer character and force you into another battle as soon as your battle is ended? Sometimes I'm just trying to get to where I'm freaking going. I fundamentally cannot comprehend how Game Freak got so many things right, perfected in Legends Arceus, and then immediately it up in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And for our last stop on the Legends Arceus Did It Better train, we're gonna look at your ride Pokemon. So depending on the version that you play, you get either Koraidon or Miraidon as kind of a single replacement to the, I think it was 5 mounts that you had in Legends Arceus, which by itself is pretty cool. It's honestly really cool that you have one Pokemon that can replace all 5 of the other ones, so you're not awkwardly trying to switch between them like I did in Legends Arceus. That part is cool. That part Scarlet and Violet got right. What they didn't get right was everything else with the ride Pokemon. Okay, admittedly, that last part was a bit overdramatic. They didn't ruin everything with the Rhydon, but they did change a few things that I personally really liked in Legends Arceus. For example, summoning Braviary in Legends Arceus basically raised you up about 50 feet or so that Braviary could glide to wherever it needed to go. Not to mention that once you got Braviary going in the right direction, you could lay off the thumbstick and hold down the B button and Braviary would take you where you need to go. If you try to let go of the thumbstick on Koraidon will just stop and start sinking. It took me way too many in-game hours to get used to how Koraidon flies versus how Braviary flies in Legends Arceus, and I really liked the way Braviary flies. Now, the good news is I'm done talking about negative stuff. Everything I mentioned prior to this point in the video could be fixed and updated with a patch, should Game Freak choose to do so. Honestly, Scarlet and Violet have the potential to be the best games in the series should Game Freak choose to fix these issues that they created. Now, I was just ragging on a moment ago how a wild Pokemon can wander into the battlefield and immediately put your trainer into a brand new battle as soon as the other battle ends. I don't like that you're forced into a new battle, but the fact that wild Pokemon can wander in the foreground and background of wild battles, that part is actually really cool, and it adds to the idea that you're in a living, breathing world. And I really enjoyed battling a Girafarig and seeing another Girafarig walk past. I just hate when they run up to me to initiate a brand new battle. Despite Scarlet and Violet's many flaws, and there are a lot of them, the one thing that Scarlet and Violet nailed absolutely perfectly was the world itself. You could start out at the front door to your house and run through every single town on the map except for Mesagoza without ever encountering a single loading screen. And that is freaking awesome. To my best recollection, there are only 3 ways to trigger a loading screen in Scarlet and Violet: to enter or exit Mesagoza, to enter or exit the post-game area, or to fast travel to a new location. Now, these next 3 things are going to be lumped into one segment, and that's the Pokemon designs themselves, the Paradox Pokemon, and the Pokemon textures. When I first got my hands on new Pokemon Snap and saw how good Pokemon could look on the Switch, I thought that there was no way that Pokemon would ever look that good in a mainline series game. When you're looking at the Pokemon up close, they absolutely look as good, if not better, than they did in new Pokemon Snap. And I have said many times on this channel that the Luxury Ball is one of my favorite Pokemon, and y'all, the Luxury Ball looks friggin' perfect. They absolutely nailed the gold trim in the center of the Luxury Ball, and I have about 100 Luxury Balls in my inventory right now because I love chunking the Luxury Ball at everything I see. Textures aside, I really and truly like the designs of the new Paradox Pokemon and the Pokemon in general. I was honestly really skeptical when I found out they had changed the egg system, but y'all, the egg system has been streamlined to near perfection. Y'all, I'm not joking when I say I started a picnic with Ditto, Sprigatito, Quaxley, and Fuecoco, and within 15 minutes I had 3 Sprigatitos, 3 Quaxleys, and 3 Fuecocos. It is awesome. Game Freak did a fantastic job in streamlining nearly everything in the new games. The Rhydon mechanic was streamlined to near perfection. The egg mechanic was streamlined to perfection. Changing between outfits, changing accessories, the Terra Raid battles, evolution, even healing your Pokemon outside of battle. Everything was streamlined in these games, and I absolutely love it. They even trimmed the fat on cutscenes, a problem that plagued both Generation 7 and 8. Y'all, I managed to pick my starter on Friday and become a champion of the region by Tuesday. I like to dick around a lot in these games. I have never beaten a game in 5 days. Certainly not a brand new title like Scarlet and Violet. That speaks volumes to the amount of time-wasting BS that was cut from these games, and I couldn't have asked for a better experience. Second to last thing I want to mention is the Pokemon's personality as a whole, but especially your partner Legendary's personality. I think that Austin John said it best when he said your partner Legendary is basically Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. Toothless is a very charismatic character, and it's really cool that they implemented all of his best personality traits into these new legendary Pokemon. And the last thing I want to mention is that Game Freak listened to its fans and finally got rid of the linear story progression. My first goal in every single Pokemon game is to gather all the gym badges and become the new champion. And I absolutely hate when everything grinds to a halt when I have to deal with whatever the new evil team is doing. The way I progress through my story is this. I did one gym, one Titan, one team star raid, and then I went and hunted down the rest of the Titans immediately. And then I went to tackle the rest of the gyms to have access to better items so I could catch better Pokemon. And then I did the Team Star raids. I absolutely love that I could push the Team Star stuff to after I did everything I wanted to do. I absolutely love that I got to do what I wanted to do first and then go and deal with Team Star. Because I'll be honest, I barely used any of the TMs in my playthrough and instead relied on the moves that my Pokemon learned as they were leveling up. So that's pretty much it for this week, you guys. That's pretty much 60 to 70% of my thoughts on this game. You'll have to come back next week to find out what opportunities I think Scarlet and Violet had that they missed. All in all, I don't really like to hate on any Pokemon title, and I honestly think that Scarlet and Violet is just one patch away from being the best games the series has ever put out. With that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and honestly, I hope you're all having as much fun playing Scarlet and Violet as I am. Come back next week and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.